A cold case for decades, until one discovery solved it. Tagline: for 44 years, he was a ghost. Then, a discarded piece of DNA evidence met a genealogy website. Between 1974 and 1986, the state of California experienced a waking nightmare. One man, 51 confirmed victims, 12 murders. But for 4 decades, he had no face, no name, only a collection of terrifying nicknames: the Visalia Ransacker, the East Area Rapist, the original Night Stalker. Today, we dissect the investigation that went cold before the internet existed, and the single seismic discovery that shattered a 44-year silence. A cold case for decades, until one discovery solved it. He struck exclusively at night. After disabling phone lines and loosening window screens, he would enter with a military tactical crawl. He brought his own weapon, a steak knife, and he brought his own terror, whispering his victim's address back to them, proving he'd been watching for weeks. Detective. He didn't just want control. He wanted you to know that you were completely, utterly helpless. He'd stack dishes on the husband's back. If he heard a dish break, he'd kill them both. Police from 10 different jurisdictions couldn't connect the dots. The attacker was a ghost who biked to crime scenes. He stopped for 90 days, then started again. He called his victims afterward, sometimes breathing, sometimes whispering, "I'm gonna kill you." Corkboard with red strings, mugshots of impossible suspects, X's over them. 215 to 400, Act 2, The Cold, 1987 to 2016. Time-lapse, police evidence room. Boxes accumulate dust. Detectives retire. By 1987, the attacks stopped. No one knew why. The leading theory was death or imprisonment, but the DNA they had, a single semen sample from the Janelle Cruz murder in 1986, sat in a freezer, untouched. VHS tape labeled Crime Scene, Goleta, 1981, being inserted into a player. For 29 years, this case had only 3 facts. The killer was white, former military, and his DNA was a perfect stranger to every criminal database in America. He had never been arrested, not once. Detective, actor VO. We would run the DNA every 18 months. Same result, negative. After 2000, we stopped hoping. We called him the unsub, unidentified subject. But really, we meant unsolved. Then came 2016, a hobby. A hobby changed everything. 4 p.m., 6 a.m. Act 3, The Discovery. In 2016, retired FBI analyst Barbara Rae-Venter stopped working for the Bureau. She started working for the dead. Using a technique called forensic genetic genealogy, she took that old crime scene DNA, only 0.5 nanograms, and uploaded it not to CODIS, but to a public genealogy database.
Everyone leaves a genetic breadcrumb trail. A third cousin twice removed who uploaded their tree for fun? That's a door. We just need the door. Then we build the neighborhood. Animated family tree grows on screen. Green dots connect. Blue arrows point to a blank black node. It took 9 months. 9 months of building a family tree with 3,000 people, none of whom were criminals. The team worked backwards in time, from the 2016 living relatives back to the 1850s, then forward again. Whiteboard covered in genealogy charts, red lines, 19th century photos. In April 2017, a single surname kept appearing: D'Angelo. Blank note flashes red. Photo appears. Former police officer ID. Joseph James D'Angelo.
One discovery. A 72-year-old retired mechanic living in Citrus Heights, California. But here is the detail that froze the room. Joseph D'Angelo was once a police officer in Exeter and later in Auburn. He was fired in 1979 for stealing a can of dog repellent and a hammer. He had pulled over his own victims during the day. He wore a badge. He was the one they trusted to call. For 6 weeks in early 2018, an FBI tactical team watched D'Angelo. He yelled at neighbors. He ate at Denny's. He mowed his lawn. They needed one thing: discarded DNA to confirm the match. They followed him to a Hobby Lobby. He threw a tissue in a parking lot trash can. An agent in plain clothes retrieved it. The lab ran it. Identical. A 1 in 32 billion match. They didn't knock on his door. They waited for the anniversary of his last murder. April 24th, 2018. 7:30 to 9. Act 5. The arrest. Reenactment. SWAT team stacks up on a front lawn at 4 a.m. Flashlight beams through fog. Narrator. April 24, 2018, 4:15 a.m. Over 40 officers converged on 8557 Old Auburn Road. Shouting, "Police! Search warrant!" Door splintering. Narrator. They found Joseph D'Angelo in his bedroom, naked, unarmed. He did not run. He did not fight. He simply looked at the officers and muttered a phrase that would become infamous. Close-up of an older man's face, empty eyes. D'Angelo, actor VO, whispered, gravelly, "I wasn't gonna do it anymore. I pushed him out. I didn't have the energy." He was talking about Jerry, a fictional alter ego. For 44 years, the monster had a name for his own darkness. Flash cut to 1980 crime scene photos. Flash cut to D'Angelo in orange jumpsuit. Match cut. 9 to 10. Act 6. The verdict and closure. Courtroom sketch. D'Angelo in a wheelchair. Elderly survivor stares at him. In June 2020, to avoid the death penalty, Joseph D'Angelo pleaded guilty to 13 murders and 13 kidnapping-related charges. He was sentenced to 11 consecutive life sentences without parole. Survivor, actor VO, emotional. I've waited 44 years to look at you and tell you, you didn't win. You are nothing, and we are still here. The discovery that broke this case, genetic genealogy, has since solved over 500 cold cases. The Golden State Killer taught law enforcement one final lesson. The past is not gone. It is just waiting for a better technology. And sometimes, one discovery isn't a fingerprint or a confession. It's a relative who decided to take a $99 DNA test. Case closed.